I would say all of my daughters have anxiety issues. I don't know if you want me to name them by name, but I don't know if that's hereditary. But my daughter, Jennifer, who you interviewed, she gets very anxious. Kathy, your mother, I think she's the best handler of anxiety to a point. And Cindy, my youngest, your aunt, she has a lot of anxiety because she has a lot of issues going on in her life. I believe my father had anxiety. Now, we're going back a lot of years, but he was a quiet, introverted man, so he kept everything inside. So I think he might have had issues along those lines, but my mother was very outgoing and expressed herself all the time, so no, not in that respect.
How did you grow up with anxiety? Well, growing up, I didn't know what that. They didn't use the word anxiety or anything like that. I just thought I was like a high-strung, overachieving type of person. For years and years, like throughout college, in school, I would get myself so worked up before tests like anybody else does, but I just freeze. But then when it would be time to take a test or whatever, I would just have to collect myself and be able to do it. But growing up, no, not for many, many years, nobody talked about anxiety or mental health issues, anything like that. I only started hearing more about it actually when I had cancer, and then both me and Don had to go to a counselor just to help us through that. But that's still, that was a big, in anybody's life, that's high stress.
Well, I think I've always been nervous, very high strung, but you can't tell by looking at me like I'm low key. But even going to grade school, if I would see a nun, I would get very, very anxious, and to this day, perhaps maybe a little bit.
Okay, how has anxiety affected my life? Well, I would say that when I have anxiety, I'm pretty good at getting up and going to work and doing a job while I have the anxiety. It affects me when I'm not busy. That's when the anxiety physically affects me. I can't function. Things run through my head. I gotta just keep doing things. I can't sleep. So mostly it affects me physically. Nobody can see. But again, if I'm at work doing something and I'm still having an anxiety attack, you probably won't notice it right away because I just keep working and working, but I have to keep doing something or it just kind of blows up
But to say it affected I dealt with it, like working. You feel yourself thinking, oh, can I do this job or can I do that job? You just deal with it. And I've never gotten to the point where I had to go to a doctor and say, I need something or help me. I feel as though I dealt with it until I had my, later on in life, then I had my medical issues. Then I found it difficult to deal with it by myself. So then I reached out to my doctor.
Having a good doctor recognize what you're going through. My doctor says you can do yoga, you can do this, you can do that, but it's it's something that's genetic, and it just like people in families have diabetes, people in families have anxiety issues.
If I feel bad physically, I will go to the doctor. If I get anxious, I don't want to say I go pop a pill, but I mean, I have medicine that just calms you down, but I don't like to deal with that. I like to handle things on my own, so I don't know what the specific answer is for that. Just learning to deal with it and share it.
It didn't really come into play really till later in my life, that when a couple little things would happen, just small things like a sick pet or things happening with your job, then you take all of the little pieces and then it just overwhelms you. And then this wasn't until into my 30s, 40s, that I wouldn't be able to sleep, it affects me at night. My mind don't shut up. It just keeps going and going, and I don't sleep. I'm up the whole night.
I would think in high school, before, like I said, as a child, you get scared. But anxiety, that's a different thing. And when I got older, especially after I retired, then I had more time to think about things and make problems out of issues that weren't problems, if that makes any sense. So that probably is when anxiety affected me more as I got older, and when I didn't have to work and have my mind on something else. Now I have it more on myself, so they say you're your own worst enemy with trying to figure out problems. Your mind just goes and goes. So that's probably when it affected me most, later on in life, in my senior years.
Hardest part is being out of control. Just the overwhelming physical, when it takes over your body, you just don't have any control. You don't know what's happening. That's the most difficult. And there's things you can learn and do to try and bring yourself down. It still happens. I may be on medication. I've been through counseling. It still happens. It doesn't have to be like a major life issue or something that blows up. It could be something small like I don't know. It's just something small, minor, and it can blow up. But it's better now.
Not being in control, if you let yourself get to the point where you're overly anxious and nervous and shaky, and that's how bad it got for me, where I was not feeling good, knowing something was wrong with me, and trying to express it and find out what the problem was. And I think we did find out, so I'm better, I think.
Anybody who's got feelings of depression or anxiety, don't hold it in. There's people out there that are willing to help. There's, especially nowadays, reach out to a doctor or any mental health thing, a group that can help you get with somebody to talk to or assess your problems. Don't go try and do it alone, because it won't work. And family may be able to help you, but I just say seek out a doctor, seek got some professional group and let them lead you to the right area.
Sharing your problems, voicing your problems. Don't keep them from within yourself, because you will be figuring out what you're thinking and you're going to come to the same conclusion, which is all wrong. You got to share it, with your family or whomever, so they understand where you're coming from, what you're feeling, and help you see a different side other than just your one-sidedness.